and welcome to podcast number 15.
Yep.
The big 1-5.
Milestone.
Yes, we are, we're doing something. I don't know if we're doing good, but.
Right. This is the first time we've been in here in 3 or 4 of them.
Yeah, we had, Dylan's last, and before that we had
Trent, and then Dalton, and
Johnny Mulligan.
Yeah, Johnny, yeah. So
it's been a minute.
Yeah, month.
Yep.
Might as well use this. We got it.
We got new headphones. I don't have the little baby ones anymore. But we have some in case Jace wants to come on, or
right,
one of the girls, or some other kid that's an infant. So, well, on this week's episode, we're going to talk about my deer that I just shot. When was that?
A week ago?
Right
under a week?
Yeah, a week ago on tomorrow.
Yeah.
And that is this deer right here. I don't know if you can see it laid on the table, but there's been quite a few comments on him looking 165 or whatever, and we don't disagree with you, but once you get him in your hands and actually see how big he is, he's large.
Yeah, he's a lot more massive. All the tines are a little bit longer, and those extras add up. I mean, I don't remember what it was. You know, it was over 10, was it?
I think it was like 13.
I can't remember exactly what it was, but there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 extra points.
You can't really see this. This side was, let's say, 93?
Something like that.
This side was like 80.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
It's he was deceiving, even in trail cam pictures. You underestimated more even than I did.
I figured he'd be in the 80s. I didn't know what he would be.
Yeah, I knew he'd be at least 180. But yeah, once we got him down, he's a large deer. I think he trumped Newt's body, but even being a 5-year-old, just corn-fed.
Yep.
So
the giant food plot that we call Iowa.
Yep.
So yeah, why don't you kind of give the rundown on the history of it? You do a little bit on the video, which I have completely edited already.
Yeah, we just watched it. It was good.
So
says I look like a dork per usual, but
can't fix that.
Can't fix that because something wrong with your face. Okay, so this deer in particular, I had pictures of him the last 2 years. When he was 3, I had pictures of him where I shot him, and he just looked like a really good 3-year-old. And then when he was 4, I killed Carlos, but I still had those cameras out, and I watched him traverse around section to section, literally around the entire town. And on one of our cameras, it was down on public, the one that got stolen.
Yeah.
We had pictures of him come through there like Christmas Day, maybe like 26th, maybe the day after Christmas. Cool pictures. We might be able to find those and throw them up on the YouTube. But he daylighted coming back in where he was going to winter on Brandon's, our friend Brandon, or my friend Brandon. He wintered on his piece. I'm not sure that Brandon ever seen him on the hoof, but he's a solid 4-year-old. He was probably 155. He still had, I think he had inside tines on each side, and then he had one between like his 3 and 4, I think.
Okay.
But he was a cool deer, and I looked, man, Jason and I shed hunted high and low looking for this dude's sheds. But
I remember I was shed hunting a farm, and you thought you found the set.
Yeah, we found a set, and it looked
a lot like him, same frame and stuff. But
yeah,
you're like, oh, this isn't even him.
This ain't even him, yeah, which was cool. But there was another deer running around in the same section with him, which I'm hoping to maybe the neighbor might have killed him, the deer that was running around with him last year. But if he's not, I'm gonna try to hunt him. But yeah, back to him. So as a 5-year-old, quite a few people knew about him. Brandon, Mason, Ryan, and a couple other people. So, I mean, he was well known. He had the same frame, just a little bit smaller, quite a bit smaller, about 30 inches smaller. But he did the same thing that he did last year. He summered northeast of town. I had pictures of him pretty much all summer starting. I think I went back in my pictures and looked, and it was like it was the daytime picture. It's like July 30th. July 30th.
The one in the timber?
Yep. Yeah. That was the first pictures I got of him. And then he stayed there all summer till so I have hundreds of pictures of him.
Right.
And I put out more cameras, got some really cool ones. But he did the same exact thing. But the year before, he ended up going south. and daylighting, I think, a few times on the river farm. You have a ladybug crawling on your head.
We're friends.
They're friends. So he daylighted quite a bit on multiple different farms, but he never did the same thing twice. So he was kind of running rogue last year. I figured he'd do the same thing this year, but he was a year older, so maybe it would shrink. His home range would shrink a little bit, which it did. It shrunk a lot, and he stayed in one area. As soon as I got pictures of him, obviously I hunted him, but he was last year. He was rogue. He was just in multiple sections. This year, he probably would have done something a little similar, but I got to him before kind of the pre-rut really kicked off. And I got lucky with that one camera setup to tell me he was in the area. So that led to his demise. But 196-inch deer, and I don't know that too many people actually had pictures of him this year because he didn't go rogue yet. Right. I think I was probably about the only one. There might be one other guy, and I asked him at Casey's if this is the day after I shot him, because I still had to work before I took pictures. And he said he never had pictures, so whether he was truthful or not, I don't know. I'll take his word for it, I guess. So I know a few guys that did see him on the hoof, like crossing in front of their car and stuff, driving around. But
and that's one of the things when you get a deer, especially around this particular area. A deer moving around is going to get seen. Like a deer this size.
And he was like moving around midday, like noon. He was running across the road. So I get him on one camera, then he'd run across to the other camera. Like, dude, what are you doing?
Right. Yeah.
So
Not bothered. Everyone's leaving him alone. He's going from one piece of property to another, and nobody's bugging him.
Yep.
So
he's got the cornfield to run into, and he's hidden like that. So that's what he was doing a lot. He was kind of running to the cornfield. And then I got him running out of the cornfield past my cameras like midday, and then running back across the road. I think maybe a coyote or something bumped him.
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah, that's and I didn't realize when I was hunting him actually how big he was until Nick and I tried loading him in the back of the truck, and we could basically drive up to him, take the 4-wheeler trail, and Nick's a big dude. I mean, he's stocky and muscular, and he got up in there, and I lifted him up, and so he was a big deer.
Yeah, definitely peak.
Yeah,
fully mature.
Yeah, and that's one thing with these cell cams, being able, if I would have had a regular camera in there and I didn't know he was in that area, and I don't have my camera set to instant. This is kind of a big topic right now. I have them sent to hourly, so it's not like I get pictures of him and go in there and shoot him because of the pictures. I got pictures of him, then it sends a picture in an hour. Hey, he was there, type of thing.
Right.
So that was a big topic over the last week.
Yeah. Social media's kind of blown that up.
Yeah,
honestly,
and the DNR even answered that question. So if you go on the DNR's Facebook page, Arthur,
it was very gray in my. It wasn't a cut and dry thing. I don't know. It's
and if you listen to Aaron's words, he pretty much just lays it out there and how it is. And if you're utilizing these cameras, like I just said, let's say you get a picture of a deer on a terrace and you walk in there that within minutes and you're using the cell cam technology to kill those deer, that's illegal. Because that's transmitting you information real time that you're going to shoot that deer now. So
and I mean and like I said, this is one of those for me that I get it. But these are wild animals. You can't.
Right.
So especially coming up on the rut, like you can get a picture of a deer, and in a half an hour, he could be a mile away.
Oh, for sure.
So
for sure.
to
and I think
say
as
that's
far as
illegal
them
to go in there and hunt, like that's
right.
Until you completely ban them.
And that might be. I think they're talking about getting the public's. I mean, the 10% of bow hunters, or whatever it was. Getting their opinion on that cell cam technology to maybe push the legislator to do something like that. And I hope it doesn't ever happen. It's technology is evolving. If they're going to try to handcuff us, then, we go back to our roots. It is what it is. I mean, I'm still going to use cell cameras on my own property to do surveys on different wildlife and security. So
I want to make sure nobody's trespassing.
And I've had enough trespassers.
Right. Yeah.
So
I actually went through and I pulled some random regular SD cards on one of my farms, and there was a bunch of dogs on them. Never got them
really?
on the cell camera.
Was it the ones I seen during shotgun season last year?
No, this is over by Grinnell.
Oh, okay.
Big giant dogs, collars and everything, like 3 of them. And I think I need to send pictures to Dylan, but I think they've ran around there for years. I've had pictures of like 3 or 4 big feral dogs that run. I mean, one of them, I don't know if it's some sort of like sheep dog or like sheepdog shepherd sort of thing, but the thing's, it's well over 100 pounds.
But they got collars, so it's,
collars and all that stuff. But they're probably rural farm dogs that just kind of do whatever they want.
Going rogue.
It is what it is. Nothing you can do about it. So,
yeah. So transitioning from this hunt, I mean, the story's nothing like last year's Carlos. Like that hunt had, enough years to build up. This was a 4-year-old that blew up 38 plus inches, and I had cameras in the right spots at different properties, and the landowners were gracious enough, and it kind of fell into my lap. One thing I will add that we don't really show in the video is there's a gentleman that you know all about this because you were here.
Right.
He called one of the officers and was complaining that I didn't use the meat. All of his meat was iced down. We went and took pictures in the morning after I had to work. And then I cut it up. My hands were numb because the meat was that cold. So all of his meat went to good use. It's in the freezer. It's going to Hunter's Smokehouse. So it just, you shoot a big deer, people are going to complain.
Right.
Is what it is. And he had a blind there, and he could have easily shot it, but he shot a good one, a real good one, that Saturday on opener for muzzleloader. So I'm sorry that I shot a deer that was walking by your blind, but I had permission. I've had permission longer than he has. I've had it for 10 years. Yeah, so
it's always breaks down into big deer they make people make stupid decisions, whether it's poaching or trespassing or jealousy. And I mean, we've talked about this.
Yeah, jealousy was the key component here by far. The guy's like, oh, he told me good job the night before. That's a good deer. That's 170. You find out it's 196 and he's all butt hurt. And
right. Yeah. And I mean, it's so dumb. Like, I mean, you and I flip crap all the time on your wall. It's like, I'm not jealous of you killing deer. I'm jealous of the caliber deer because they're really, really good. But besides maybe Jace and Jen, nobody is more happy for you to kill these deer.
Yeah, and that's why I call you first and then hang up and call my wife.
Yeah,
hopefully she doesn't watch this. I'm pretty sure she won't. But
right, yeah, and that's a good thing. And people need to understand that it's and most friends are that way.
Yeah,
I mean, it is what it is, and people
get jealous. But the thing, really why it really. He thought he insinuated that I was wasting meat. First of all, in my background, I would never waste meat.
Right.
Never. Absolutely never. And that thing, that kind of irritated me the most. And the officer was on my, behind my back, and he had my back or whatever. But it's just those people that they get jealous and how can I get this guy in trouble? I'm sorry. You can watch the video if you want. You think I did anything wrong? Go ahead. Here's the proof. Like,
And honestly, that's part of the reason we film. Like, I watched a little snippet of Don Higgins. Love him, hate him. He's a controversial guy in the whitetail stuff, but he said the reason he started carrying a camera was to basically prove himself ethical and legal, because Don's killed a lot of big deer.
Yep.
And people were, this or that. Well, here you go. Here's the footage. Here's the footage of me killing this deer. What law did I break?
And that's the thing. Like, we 100%. It's 100% ethical. 100%. There's no. If you watch the video, you're like, okay, you can watch him cross the fence and take. Granted, he's like 7 or 8 steps over the fence, but he's on the property I can hunt, and he was going to a bean field, so it doesn't matter if he was 1 foot over the fence. If he was 500 feet off the fence or, 500 yards.
Yep,
so
it doesn't matter.
It's 100% legal. The officer knows where I shot him. I told him, big deer make people throw out crazy accusations, and it's just ridiculous.
It always happens.
When I shot my 2 back-to-back, those 2, people were like, how did you do that? Like, they wanted to find something. It's like,
Well, yeah, because there's no way you shoot 208-inch deer in 7 or 8 days legally. You can't.
And
it's impossible.
Yeah, and I told you it was that one. I got lucky. And
Cowboy was right place, right time.
I went and checked. I went and checked my card. It was a card camera. I'm like, holy shit, this deer's all over the scrape. And I sprayed down with the buck bomb and what's that? Cedar cover scent. Yeah, big buck ruiner. I smelled like deer, and I was hunting the wrong wind, and he smelled me and came in. It was just dumb. It was dumb luck.
And then you've never put that much work on a deer.
Right.
I don't think anybody has.
That deer
was stupid.
That deer was absolutely insane.
But paid off.
Yep. And that's the thing. Like, you can second guess that, but that was all on video. We documented that hunt. Like,
yep.
It's crazy. Like, the whole thing with Lee when he threw the deer in the back of you have to legally tag the deer. That the first thing I did after I walked over and showed you. I ran back up to got my pack, and within 15 minutes, within 5 minutes that tag was on before I moved him. So
right, and I think for the most part you're going to have two people are in the Lee camp. One's honest mistake.
Yep.
And I guarantee there's not one person listening to this that hasn't moved a deer before they tagged it, whether it be 5 feet.
Or his head, or
put it in the back of the truck, and honestly, it was not a malicious thing.
Oh, right.
It was probably
just there's those Facebook keyboard warriors that Lee made a mistake. Okay, I bet he learned from that.
Right.
There's been other guys, and it might have even been him that accidentally tagged a doe with the buck tag or buck with a doe tag.
Mark Drury did it late season, 8 or 9 years ago, and it's all on video. And he called the DNR officer, and I know and I know the DNR officer. And he put his buck tag on a doe, which it's an any sex tag, so it can go on a doe.
Yep.
You think he wanted to tag a doe with his buck tag, Mark?
And he had to use it. Yeah,
and he had to use it, and he said once it's snipped, and he could have even went and said he lost it. Paid $5 for a replacement, and nobody would have ever known. But Mark
he's ethical, and he's
one of those guys
that's the thing. There's different states with different regulations, and there's some states you go on an app. I think like Missouri, and you say, "Oh, I notched the ear," or whatever. However you do that, every state's different.
Kentucky, you don't even have to. You don't put anything on it.
Yeah. Do you even mark it on the app, tagged or whatever?
Well, I didn't kill one, so I can't remember. But I think you can print off a piece of paper if you want. And I know turkeys in Nebraska, same thing. You just mark on a thing
it's so
filled.
Let's say you're an out-of-stater, and that's the hardest part. Is there's so many rules and regulations that you don't know about, and the DNR's got so many gray areas. You don't even know anything. One guy down the road, I mean, not to go down a rabbit hole, but he moved to Iowa. He's a landowner. He leased some ground for hunting. Not for agriculture, not for cows. He shot a deer with a landowner tenant tag and he shot it on this lease for deer, put his license on it, and he was illegal because he didn't have cattle or it wasn't agriculture purposes. But he didn't know. He literally just moved here.
Right. Yeah, and most people wouldn't.
Yeah.
I mean, but it does fall back on it is your responsibility.
It is. It's 100% your responsibility.
To know the rules and regulations and all that stuff. So
it's so difficult. You literally need to sit down and read the entire rule book for whatever state you're going.
Or the best thing is a lot of these places you can call. Like when I first started turkey hunting in Nebraska, I called the DNR and said, "Hey, I got a few questions and I just want to clarify because with what is it bringing stuff across state lines? The CITE or not CITE? That's the Lacey Act.
Lacey Act, yeah.
I wanted to make sure, okay, I'm from Iowa. What do I have to bring with me? And what can't I bring with me? So, I had to have a leg and a wing attached.
To the breast.
To the breast or something like that. So, I think it's right. I don't want to misquote myself, but I brought the whole root back. Put it in a cooler on ice. I gutted it and whatnot, brought the whole thing back. Had everything I needed to. I think that's what it ended up being. But, yeah, if you have questions, call. Because a lot of times you read something and you like the thing with the cell cameras, it kind of reads a different way when you look at it. But if you have somebody tell you,
right? But that's the thing. The biggest thing is if you put it on social media, you better bet your ass it's 100% legal, 100% ethical,
right?
And even if it is, people are still going to throw out accusations, and that's the cold hard truth. People suck,
right?
So
yep. You just have to know whatever you're saying, you better be willing to be able to back it up, and you better be willing to be accountable for whatever you say.
And if this guy wants deer sticks, I will send him some deer sticks from this deer.
That's gross. It was sitting out for like.
When I tell you, there's bags of ice,
14 hours.
And it was, my hands were numb.
Well, and it was inside a refrigerated area.
Yes. It was cold as snot.
And it had ice in it. Like, people don't understand.
Yeah, the people used to age deer, age pheasants. They'd hang them up on the barn door until they start slipping. And I mean, people used to age meat like that.
Yep.
Wild animals.
Oh,
so,
yeah. You know, and like even when it's super cold, if I shoot a deer late season, I'll hang it in my garage for
a couple days,
4 or 5 days. Like it doesn't get bad.
And that's the thing with, as soon as your tag's on it, you called it in, confirmation number, all that stuff. It doesn't matter what you do with it.
And that's something that a lot of people may not understand. So
Right.
So tell them what was discussed about the deer.
Literally could feed it to a dog if I wanted to.
Right.
Which I'm not. But what's to say if I didn't start cutting them open? And I've had this happen before. Back in the day, I cut into a deer, and it looked like yellow pudding.
Right.
It was all infected. It was the most disgusting thing I've ever seen.
Got gouged by another deer. I mean, Juddy shot one on my uncle's during shotgun season probably 4 years ago. Good old buck. And I remember getting trail cam pictures of him, and he just looked rough.
Yep.
And he took him home and skinned him. And he said every inch of that deer's skin was green.
Yep.
And I was like, that's
I'm telling you, it's pudding. Pudding came out of his loins when I shot the one back in the day. It looked like you took just vanilla pudding and it was lime green in the meat. So
I've seen it.
What do you think? Like this guy you could clearly tell he got on my nerves because one, I am the most ethical person that I can be.
Right.
I would never do anything illegal to push or to push any lines. I mean, if it's legal and it's ethical, I'm going to do it.
And normally you may rant to a couple people, but you kind of to keep it to yourself.
Oh, I do.
You're
most
the
of the time.
of me.
Like I'm the opposite of you.
If
and
something bugs me, you're gonna. Everyone's gonna know.
But the fact that he thought that I did that on purpose and I just for clout and to take a pretty picture.
Oh yeah.
First of all, that picture is going to live with me. I mean, that's my favorite spot to take pictures.
Right.
This is the second time.
Second deer we've done there.
And it goes out to a lot of people, and I'll live with that memory for the rest of my life. So I'm giving that back to the deer, and
like you said 10 times, the meat's in the freezer right now.
Yep.
And is going to get made into sticks.
Yep. And they're good. Hunter Smokehouse, Ackworth, Iowa. If anybody wants to go, you better call and get your spot. So you get your own deer back too, which is nice. But.
Right. And that's kind of the biggest thing is I do a lot of my own, but I don't do sticks. I've tried. I've tried multiple times.
The honey barbecue or the Hawaiian girl. Oh,
yeah, you and your sweet meat.
So sweet.
I can't do it.
Yeah.
I'm a spicy jalapeno guy.
Yep.
Pepper.
He's got quite a bit of variety that you can get back too. So what's nice is he calls you, hey, I'm ready for you, or text you. You take it in, and then you go pick it up within a couple of days. You get your own deer. Like you don't take it to Malcolm and you get thrown in with a bunch of other deer. Malcolm's still really good because that's where I grew up, around that area, taking deer there. But you get your own deer. So if you clean it crappy, you get your crappy meat back.
Right. So I think in Malcolm, where I take it, they've told me it's my own deer.
Yeah.
And I usually wait.
Maybe not during shotgun season.
No, they hate me because I don't take anything till like February.
Yeah, that's probably why you're getting your own deer back.
And they hate me because they're like, well, because they're in a USDA locker, so they do all the certified beef and stuff, and they're like, we have to clean everything.
The owner probably likes it though.
My paycheck doesn't, or
yeah, it's expensive. It is expensive, but it's well worth it.
$1,400 on sticks last year. So expensive, but I still have.
They got jerky there too. It's really
packs,
good.
And I actually just thought out some jerky. I'm going to make it tomorrow.
Nice.
On the smoker. So
cool. Well, we won't take any more of your time. That's the story on TW.
Hunt will drop tomorrow.
Tomorrow
after this. So.
It's quick and fast, a little bit of a story. Had a little bit better storyline last year, but oh well. I still have a bow tag.
Can't always be like that.
Right. That was kind of a unique one. So
awesome. Well, congrats again.
Thank you.
And
you want to hold them up?
Yeah. waiting for that horseshoe. But
Here.
all right, bend over. Let me. Yeah. Something else.
Don't get to use these that much.
All right, let's get out of here.
All right, later.